Rare Things was created from a place of wanting to talk about rare perspectives to create an extraordinary life, give a home to people where being rare is the standard.
If you're trying to be rare on purpose, that gets a little bit weird.
If it's status quo, we're allergic to it.
It's not about trying to walk on your hands because everyone walks on their feet.
This isn't just a podcast, this is an experience. The rare perspectives people knows what that feels like to be able to live more in their years than the actual time on the clock.
We gotta have a safe haven where you're allowed to not just dream big, but succeed big. If you're not normal in your pursuits in life, this is a home for you. Let's start.
Very good place to start. And action. So, a needle pulling thread. So, Rare Things.
A home for people who know they're not normal.
Rare Things was created from a place of wanting to talk about rare perspectives to create an extraordinary life, to give a home to people where being rare is the standard.
And I feel like this was really your idea. Like, you began with this idea.
Thanks.
It's your idea, and then you said, I mean, this is really because of you, I feel like. So, put the show together, and we spun on the name for a long time.
The name before was Off Topic.
Yeah.
But we still were like, it's not really right. And then I had another idea for a topic, for a title, Off the Record.
Yeah.
But that wasn't right. And there's so many podcasts with that name that we didn't want to be just another Off the Record podcast. It's a clever name, but of course, because it's clever, a lot of people have taken it. And we're trying to not be status quo. Anything we do is like, if it's status quo, we're allergic to it.
Yeah.
So then I think one day I was like, what if it's just the word rare?
Yeah.
It was just rare. And then things fell into it. And it was like one of those things that we just like, don't even tell anyone, don't ask their opinions, that's the name. And I love when you know that that's what it is. Like my last name. When my mom renamed me Marley Jacks after my divorce, it was like, that's the name. No one even, I don't have to ask anyone's opinion. That is it.
And then it was like that full body yes. Full body yes.
Yeah.
We're using AI to brainstorm stuff and just try to come up with things. Because the other issue is like, we don't want this to be a relationship. It's not a relationship podcast.
Right. It's not a relationship podcast. It's not a business podcast. Although we will talk about those things.
For sure. Yeah.
It's also not just a podcast.
But I think that's the whole point, though, is that like being rare. I feel like if you're trying to be rare on purpose, that gets a little bit weird. It's more about just being yourself. And if that is you being rare, then that's awesome. But it's not about trying to walk on your hands because everyone walks on their feet. You know what I mean? Rare, different for just because of the sake of it. But most of us live such interesting, different lives than I hate to say normal people, but it's true that sometimes there's no tribe. There's no place to go to turn and get support to as well. And the circles that we've continued to just come around and be around and meet around. It's almost like half the reason we go to all these different masterminds is because people are like, there are more of me. And they want to feel like they belong. Yeah.
One of us. One of us.
So it's like, that's and I feel like that really is like the sub theme of what we're trying to create here. It's like, if you're not normal in your pursuits in life, more power to you. This is a home for you.
We noticed that anytime we would speak at a mastermind or be at a dinner with people like us, one of us, we would get into these really deep conversations. And we were like, that felt so good to talk about, where, a lot of the conversations we have are about business, relationships, and like we will talk about all those things as well. But we wanted a place where it was like normal to talk about the hidden, the hushed, the taboo, on top of the rare lifestyle stuff.
Where we can sit here and we can talk about the things that we all know that all of us are actually talking about and thinking about. Like at the dinner conversations where we'll have with people where it's, we're going to go really deep into this one topic, and to the rest of the world is so nerdy, but everyone's leaning in, Those aren't normal conversations, and there's certainly not normal people to be interested in them. That's really the point of this.
And so because we said this isn't just a podcast, this is an experience, we've come up with some things that will start to roll out. There's an email newsletter.
Yeah.
There's a membership site. There's rare things dinners in various cities. We are coming to your city.
Yeah.
There's rare things retreats on all different topics, all different categories. And I want to make it like, imagine mastermind meets escape room games, really an experience that is just unforgettable and with people that will become your people, where being rare is the standard.
And we're not, I also like that it doesn't feel like we're trying to say, you and I, Marley and I are the standard for what it means to be rare. That's not the point either.
We're
But we do
figuring
have,
it out as we go.
we'll figure it out as we go. But like, we also have a lot of very unique experiences, like not normal scenarios that we had to face and kind of shoulder together just because of the path of life we've chosen to take.
And I think a lot of people listening could relate to that, because the rare perspectives kind of people are people that they want to live 10 years in a year. Like, we want to move fast. Dr. Benjamin Hardy has this book. It was one of his very first books called Slipstream Time Hacking. And he talks about that we should measure time by distance traveled rather than time elapsed.
Yeah.
And so in my 33 years, have I lived more because of what I've done in 33 years than my previous life if I was a dental hygienist for 33 years? Yeah. Or you think about the speed of a car, like the things inside the car going faster than the person walking on the side of the road, even though it doesn't feel any different. You're not in the car like being pushed back by the speed, but it's the distance traveled rather than time elapsed. And so I think that people that will subscribe to this rare things, rare perspectives, rare being the standard, knows what that feels like, to be able to live more in their years than the actual time on the clock.
I think it's huge. And it's not normal, and can make you feel a little bit isolated and very hard to relate with. That's how I felt anyway, especially at the beginning when I started going after just like big goals that seemed audacious to everybody else.
You're like, am I allowed to say this?
Am I allowed to say it? Yeah. And then you have to almost like apologize for what you want. And for me, it kind of became this thing where I almost had to downplay what I wanted. I had to act like, no, that's not really what I want. Or let's start chopping the legs out from my dreams. You couldn't even say what you want to go after in your life. But then when you did do something rare, I always had to downplay it and apologize for it. Like, let's not celebrate me. Let's not celebrate what I just got, went and did. So who was telling us? Someone was telling us that the inability to celebrate an achievement is
equivalent to grief.
Yeah, it's the equivalent to like losing someone and not being able to grieve if you don't celebrate. And so I feel like that's one of the major reasons for this, is like, we got to have a place where, if we all stay creators and we're all still innovating, and we're going after major rare things in our life, like there has to be kind of a safe haven where you're allowed to not just dream big, but succeed big, fail big, cast the vision really, really high. And people are like, yeah, not, oh, it should be me. They get comparative, or that, they kind of blame you for what they haven't done in their own life.
People that root for you instead of skeptical pull you down. No, that doesn't happen to you, because we've all had that. And it took me a long time in being with you to admit my dreams, to admit even to myself that I want to have a big business, make lots of money, make movies in Hollywood. Like, I just grew up believing that doesn't happen to people. And the people that it does happen to, it was really hard. And you don't want to do that. So just stay safe in your little bubble and your picket fence and your 9 to 5, and have someone else sign your paychecks for you. And then even breaking out of that, it's like there's still the comfort zone of like, oh, well, I won't step out of this chalk line.
Yeah. And then it makes it so that you just feel like you're not doing what you were born for. I think there's a lot of reasons somebody can start numbing. You can numb because of the pain of how fast you grow. But you also can numb because you're not actually going for the things that you want in your life. And you can kind of see these cycles people will sit in, where they don't try anything new. They're not going for anything that's aggressive or stretching. Not that it has to be chaotic. I don't think growth has to be chaotic, but it makes it challenging, because then you don't actually know what you're capable of. These numb cycles that a lot of us will get into is a painful thing.
What's your favorite failure?
My favorite failure would have to be just collectively 34 business tries over 5 years. It's my favorite failure because, I And I'm sure anyone who's watching or listening to this now can relate to it, where it's like you're going after something and it fails. And you have all your buddies and people around you going, oh, but hey, you tried. Did you learn something? Great job. Go for it again. And then try number two, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. That's awesome. Great job. And then by number 8, I remember people were like, okay, is this the one that's going to work?
When are you going to give up?
When are you going to give up? Is this one's going to work?
Cute.
Yeah. Maybe this can be like a side hustle for you, and like that kind of.
Little hobby.
Yeah. Great job.
Expensive hobby.
Work, right? Yeah. But then I remember, though, it was around try 10, 12-ish, where for me, I started, it started changing me as a character. I started realizing that I needed to submit myself as clay to the game, which meant I needed to be molded by it. And then there was also things that needed to round out the edges and rough off,
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it got a little bit hard, because that's when it got really lonely for me, because I just didn't know, there was no one I could kind of shoulder to shoulder with. But I also, in some respects, think it was really good for me, because there was no one I could look to be like, oh, you want to commiserate with me? So, yeah.
I was saying the best success is the kind of success that's like the train leaving the station, not the rocket ship. Rocket ships are unsustainable. They can blow up at warp speed. Train leaving the station can slowly take off and gain speed. And
there was an entrepreneur I was working with a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't know this before I started working with her. She had no idea why she was successful. It was her first try.
What?
It was her first thing. And that was the issue, is that it was her first attempt, and it was a rocket ship.
Mm.
And so she actually had less commitment to the project.
Yeah.
Because she kept looking over the fence. You know what I mean?
For how long is this going to last? How long do I have to maintain or defend this?
Well, she just hadn't tried enough things to truly choose the project.
Mm.
And so I think it's another cool thing with failure, is that sometimes it's aren't you glad that your second thing you ever tried didn't work? You'd be doing it.
Be the best dental hygienist in the world.
It's wait a second. I'm really grateful for all those failures, because number one, I've learned. Number two, I'm not doing them, thankfully. Yeah. I wouldn't choose them now.
Right.
But that's a weird mentality, and everyone else looks like failure, but the rest of us, it's a stepping stone.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What's your favorite failure? That's a great question. What's your favorite failure?
Omaha.
Okay.
So if I even back up further, Omaha happened after my divorce, and I could also say that my divorce was the best thing. It was the best and worst thing, because at the time it was so painful. And, your life as you know it being dismantled. And unfortunately, when you're in a state of survival and losing everything, it's not this conscious uncoupling. It was quite attacking and threatening and unfortunate how it all landed. And after my divorce, I felt this I already did the hardest thing by leaving my marriage. I will never be heartbroken again. I actually said that.
I remember you saying that, actually.
I will never be heartbroken. I can have any guy I want.
That's when we were just friends and just talking.
Yeah. Because I was I already did the hardest thing, and if I can overcome that, I can do anything. And then I was introduced to this guy who lived in Omaha, and he was everything my ex-husband wasn't. So I was perfect. This guy's amazing, and I'm going to go all in, and we're going to be together. And the pandemic happened, and we were kind of just, talking on the phone, virtually, whatever. And he's like, let's do something crazy. Come be with me. We'll come to Omaha, and we'll just be together. And I see a future with you. We could get married. And I'm like, all right, be right there. I packed everything I can in 2 suitcases. I make up some paperwork about being an essential worker. I jumped the border because I was in Canada at the time. My parents are furious with me. The ink was not even dry yet from my divorce papers. And I'm like, see ya. There was also, safety and emotional stuff at home that I was I just felt comfortable leaving.
Yeah, sure.
And it's funny, though, because one of my best friends, Nikki, that lives here in Boise the whole time, was like, this pandemic thing is happening. Why don't you come to Boise and live with me so that you're not alone? And I was like, nah, I don't want to impose. But then Omaha is like, come here. I'm like, yep, I'll be right there. my fairy tale, my dream come true. This is my love. This is my love story starting. And I go to Omaha, and it's a week of pheromones and bliss and sexual attraction. And then a weekend, like I've met his parents and his friends and his employees. A very busy week. And then I was like, hey, how could you never like introduce me as your girlfriend? And he's like, well, I don't want to put a label on things. I want to take it slow. Excuse me, what? And so I packed up everything and I was like, I gotta go. That's not how I want to be treated. But silly me, I thought he's gonna turn right around and be like, I made a huge mistake. I need you to come back. He sure didn't. So I came to Boise where Nikki said, like, come live with me. I thought that I was gonna turn right back around and go back to Omaha once I thought that he was gonna change his mind. But when he didn't, I internalized that as a reflection of my self-worth and thought that I was unlovable and thought that I would never be happy again. And we went to the same therapist.
Yeah.
Cross paths in the parking lot sometimes.
Yeah. Enthusiastic high fives.
While I'm falling. Went to therapy 3 times a week, crying over the same things. Why am I not lovable? What's wrong with me? And I couldn't get out of it. And I just spiraled in this. And I was like near suicidal. And it was the worst thing in my life. It was I was, calling it a failure. And now I look at it because that pain was enough to bring me into therapy for the first time. A friend of ours saw how rock bottom I was. And he was like, why don't you come to Austin, where he knew of a nurse that...
Should we go there?
Let's go there.
Let's go
That's
there.
all right with
rare
you.
Things. We're talking about rare things.
I didn't mean to go here with my failure, but
No,
it was
let's do
like
it.
the
This
best.
It was a segue. It's perfect.
The nurse that does psychedelic therapy, and I'm like, what do you mean psychedelic therapy? This one was MDMA therapy.
Which scared the crap out of me, by the way. I was like, there's no way.
Well, and me being a little Canadian girl, I'm like, drugs are bad. But I was also near suicidal. Like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
And I did the research and like, gosh, MDMA therapies and like clinical trials has healed veterans with decades of PTSD in one sitting, 5 years of therapy in a day. And I'm in so much pain that I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
And so I go to Austin. I have this 1-day session with this nurse and like.
You came back physically looking just like lighter. I remember that. I remember seeing you for the first time.
I felt different. Yeah. I was a different person.
You just were like on cloud 9.
Yeah.
And it was not because you were still like, with it in you. It's not because it shifted so much.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was like, I got to go do that.
Well, because it allowed me to see the pattern of all of my codependency in relationships before, why I was attracted to emotionally unavailable people.
Yeah.
Because even before that, we were friends. And gosh, how amazing to have a friendship before being in love with. Like, I had only ever crashed into love before you. And with you, I actually know what it's like to fall in love and to have a foundation of friendship first. And when you started to tell me that you were interested in me and started to pursue me, my response was...
You said, I just want to go get my heart more broken. Or something like that. And I was like, I kind of respect that.
No, you actually said, that's dumb. Well, I was like, Steven, you're so nice, but you're not my type. My type was narcissist, manipulator, cheater, abuser. And so the therapy allowed me to see, because what it does chemically is it like dumps your serotonin, reduces your amygdala. So it's like this euphoria, all love, all compassion, no fear. So I could look at the pattern of everything in my life and why I was continuously attracted to emotionally unavailable people, including friendships, including work relationships, including bosses, including mean girls in school. Like, it went back that far. And then while in the therapy, this 1-day session, I'm like, Steven is real love. That's healthy love? that I've been unattracted to this whole time.
Sorry, I'm not a narcissist.
He just like pushed me around a little. No. And so now I look at Omaha as like the trigger for it was the worst thing at the time to happen that led to the best thing. So now it's kind of a framework in my life for if something feels like it's not going the way that I wanted it to, maybe it's just Omaha.
I like that you name it that too. Like maybe it's just Omaha.
Maybe
it's like a turn of phrase, you know?
Yeah, maybe it's what I thought was going to be my happily ever after, and when it didn't, and I was so heartbroken and disappointed, it's because the best thing was on the other side of it.
I think it's powerful to look at failure that way because failure is barely real.
It's a prerequisite.
It's a prerequisite, but it's also like 34 failures taught me. There's a little phrase I'll repeat to myself, which I repeated throughout the 34. And it's the thing that'll get me up in the morning. It's the thing I just ask myself, how bad do you want it? That's it. How bad do you want it? I always respond back, real bad. And then I get up.